Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Blackwing deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is my favorite deck of all time. And this deck is absolutely insane. I've included all sorts of really awesome tech cards in this build and I'm super excited to show you it. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting a requested deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Blackwing Simoon the Poison Wind. This card is an insane 3-of that you're always going to see in your opening hand, because it has the ability to control no monsters, and this card is in your hand. You can banish one other Blackwing monster from your hand to place a Black Whirlwind from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. Then either send this card to the graveyard, or what you're always going to do with this card is normal summon this card to your side of the field without tributing. But you cannot special monsters for the rest of the turn from the extra deck except dark monsters, which is totally fine because that's all we're summoning anyways. This card is absolutely insane because it instantly gets you to your copy of Black Whirlwind and doesn't even waste your normal summon because it normal summons itself by its own effect, which is really good. The only downside of this card is during the end phase, you send the Black Whirlwind you placed on the field to the graveyard by this card's effect, and if you do, take 1,000 points of damage, which never comes up because you're bouncing that Black Whirlwind every single time back to your hand off your copy of Zaphros the Elite, which is extremely important to be able to do so you don't take 1,000 points of damage and don't lose that Black Whirlwind so you can get additional searches later. But this card is a card you always want to see. I then play 3 copies of Blackwing Chris the Crack of Dawn. This card is a great 3-of in the deck, and if you control another Blackwing monster on your side of the field except another copy of this card, you can special summon this card to your side of the field once per turn, which is a really good effect just to get you an additional Blackwing on your side of the field so you can go in for game and go in for some really insane plays. This card also has the ability that once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by spell or trap effects, making this card immune one time from being destroyed by a Regeki or a copy of Torrential Tribute, which is a really good effect. I then play 3 copies of Blackwing Bora the Spear, which does piercing damage and can also special summon itself to your side of the field if you control another Blackwing monster, which is really good to help you just swarm the board. I then play a single copy of Blackwing Zaphros the Elite. Blackwing Zaphros the Elite is a really good card because it has the ability that once per duel, you can actually bounce a card on your side of the field back to your hand, take 400 points of damage, and then special summon this card from your graveyard, which is a really good effect just to get this card back on your side of the field to help you go in for all sorts of really good plays. This card is really good to summon off your copy of Wise Strix or just get it out on your side of the field by any means to then get it in the grave and bounce a card like your copy of Black Whirlwind that you placed on the field by your copy of Simoon to then be able to go in for plays later with that Black Whirlwind. We then play a single copy of Auster the South Wind. I feel like 1 copy of this card is totally fine in this build. I have bumped it down from 2 to 1 from the last build because this card is a card I'm always searching off my copy of Simoon when I normal summon it without tributing. Because this card has the ability that when this card is normal summon, you can target one of your banished level 4 lower Blackwing monsters and special summon it in defense position, which is going to be the card that you banish to activate the Simoon's effect, which is really awesome. It also has the ability that you can banish this card from the graveyard to activate one of the following effects to either place black feather counters on a Blackwing dragon that you control equal to the number of cards that your opponent controls, or place a wedge counter on each face-up monster that your opponent controls and then that does not have one, which is really an insane effect to combo with your copy of Full Armor Master because it can turn into a board wipe, which is really cool. I then play 3 copies of Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. Gale the Whirlwind is insanely powerful because if you can control another Blackwing on your side of the field, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is not a once per turn, just like your copy of Bora. And this card also has an insane effect that once per turn, you can half the attack and events of one face-up monster that your opponent controls, which is an insane effect just to be able to half a monster's attack on the field. I then play 2 copies of Hamantan the Dust. Hamantan the Dust is a really good card to search off your copy of Auster when you normal summon it with Black Whirlwind on the field, and it has the ability, if you control a Blackwing monster other than a Hamantan the Dust, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can only special summon this card once per turn this way. And when this card is normal or special summon, you can target one of your other Blackwing monsters and increase this card's level by that monster's level, which is usually going to be your copy of Oster to boost this card to a level 6, which is really good. I then play a single copy of Orochi the Squall. Orochi the Squall is a really good one-of that has the ability to control a Blackwing monster. Other than a copy of Orochi, you can special summon this card from your hand as a level 1 tuner monster, which can come up to help you go in for some really good plays. And then play a single copy of Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing is a good card for the Raid Raptor package we're playing in the deck, because this card counts as a Phantom Knight and a Raid Raptor card. And if this card is in your hand or grave, you can detach a material from a Dark XZ monster to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field, which can help you get the rest of the materials off your copy of Arsenal Falcon, so we can go in for our copy of DDD Duo King Yugioh to completely turn our opponent's turn off, which is really insane. His card is really good in the deck and helps out a lot to be able to just get us an additional monster on the field. I then play a single copy of Singing Lanius, which can special summon itself to your side of the field if you control an XZ monster, which is just a really good effect. One copy of Silent Boots. Silent Boots has the ability to control a Phantom Knight monster. You can special summon this card from your hand, but the effect that you're going to be using on this card is you can banish this card from the grave to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is really handy to be able to use in the deck with your copy of Rusty Bardige to be able to just get you a search of Fogblade or one of our rank up magic spells. I then play 2 copies of Ash Blossom. 2 copies of Ash Blossom is in here for Crossout Designator, and it's just a really good card overall to stop your opponent from searching the deck. I then play a single copy of Effect Veiler to stop the opponent's monster effects. DD Crow, because DD Crow is a really good card to get cards out of the graveyard, and it's just an overall really good card. And then a single copy of Nibiru, so we don't get Nibiru'd and we can use it with our Crossout Designator to stop the opponent from using Nibiru against us, which is really good. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, I'm going to be playing a single copy of the Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Force. This card is a really good card because during the main phase, you can banish one or more dark monsters from your graveyard and then target a Dark XZ monster you control and special summon from your extra deck one Phantom Knight, Raid Raptor, or XZ Dragon XZ monster whose rank equals that number of banished cards. Basically, if I banish from my graveyard 1 or to 3, basically 3 usually, which is what I'm going to use with this card, is I'm going to banish 3 dark monsters while I have my copy of Wise Strixel on the field to be able to rank it up into a rank 7 Arsenal Falcon, giving it a +3 by banishing 3 from the grave, which is really good. I then play a single copy of the Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic Launch. Rank Up Magic Launch is really insane, and now we're actually going to go in for a copy of Duo King Yugioh, with the ability that during the main phase, you can target a Dark XZ monster you control with no XZ material, and special summon from your extra deck 1 Dark XZ monster that is 1 rank higher than that monster that you control by using it as an XZ material, and if you do, attach this card as an additional material, which is a really insane effect to be able to use, and it also has the ability during the main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target a Dark XZ monster you control and attach a Phantom Knight monster from your hand to that monster as an XZ material, which can come in handy every so often, but this card is going to be set on your side of the field. When your opponent goes, well, you have an Arsenal Falcon with no materials on it, you flip this card face up and turn it into a Duo King Yugioh, essentially turning your opponent's entire turn off, which is absolutely crazy. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave just to stop the opponent's hand traps while we're going in for all of our plays, and just to make sure we're not going to get hand trapped, I'm playing 3 copies of Crossout Designator. Now this card is really good to be able to use with copies of Nibiru, Effect Veiler, Ash Blossom, Imperm. This card is really good to stop your opponent from stopping your plays with hand traps, so I bumped this card to 3 in this particular build. I then play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness is really good to bait out Ash Blossom, but also if they don't hit this card with an Ash Blossom, this card can come in extremely handy just to draw 2 cards and banish a Blackwing that you probably don't need in your hand to dig for cards like Simoon or even dig for more combo pieces. So this card is really good. I then play 3 copies of Black Whirlwind. Black Whirlwind will always be a 3 of in this deck because it's one of those insane searchers in the entire game with the ability that when a Black Blackwing monster is normal summoned to your side of the field, you can add a Blackwing monster from your deck to your hand with less attack than that monster. This card is crazy good. The deck is completely revolving around this card, and it's really good because you can get multiple searches per turn, because this card stacks over and over again, because if you have 3 of them on the field and you normal summon out a Blackwing monster your side of the field, you get 3 searches. And what's really crazy about this card is with Simoon, when you normal summon the Simoon, it normal summons itself by its own effect, which doesn't count towards your normal summon, so you'll actually get a double search off this card, which is really insane. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, I'm going to be playing a single copy of Imperm for the crossout designator. So this card is really good as a one-of in the deck to be able to stop the opponent from using monster effects, just in case we do draw into it. But it is really, really good in the deck to be able to use for a crossout designator target. I then play a single copy of Shade Brigandine, which can special summon itself to their side of the field as a level 4 warrior monster, which is pretty good to be able to use as an XZ play, or even as a monster to be able to link climb with. I then play a single copy of Fogblade, which I have bumped down to 1 because I'm usually searching out a copy of Fogblade and a copy of our Phantom Knight Rank Up Magic launch to be able to go into the following turn to have a monster negate and have a card to be able to turn the opponent's entire turn off, which is absolutely insane. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I'm going to be playing 2 copies of Blackwing Full Armor Master. And yes, you can summon 2 in this deck, which is absolutely insane. This card is unaffected by other card effects, which means it's completely immune to Duo King Kal Yuga, which is really insane. And each time a monster your opponent controls activates its effect, you place a wedge counter on that opponent's monster. And then after this card resolves, you put that wedge counter on it. And then once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls with a wedge counter on it, and you can take control of that card. And then once per turn, during your end phase, you can destroy all monsters on the field that do have wedge counters, which is absolutely crazy. This card is a definite 2 of in the deck and one of the craziest boss monsters ever created. I then play a single copy of Blackwing Tamer Obsidian Hawkjoe. Hawkjoe is a really good card because it can count as a monster reborn, because it can target 1 level 5 or higher winged beast type monster in your graveyard and special summon it to the field, which is just absolutely crazy. I then play a single copy of Raikiri. Raikiri is a good 1 of in the deck because it has the ability, if you control the synchro summon card, then you can target cards on the field up to the number of Blackwing monsters that you control and destroy them. But it doesn't count itself, which is the only downside of this card. But being able to pop multiple cards on the field is just really, really good. I think play a single copy of Chidori. Chidori can get absolutely massive because it gains 300 attack points for every Blackwing in the graveyard, which is really, really good. And then a single copy of Blackwing Armor Master. Armor Master cannot be destroyed by battle, and when it battles an opponent's monster, you don't take battle damage for that battle. Also, when it battles, you put a wedge counter into that monster, and you can pull the wedge counter out to drop the opponent's monster's attack points down to 0 until the end phase, which is really insane to be able to use on this card. I then play a single copy of Raid Raptor 4-Strix. 4-Strix is a really good 1-up for combo piece, because you detach a material in this card and then add a level 4 Darkwing Beast monster from your deck to your hand. I then play a single copy of Arsenal Falcon. Arsenal Falcon is really good because you can detach a material in this card and then special summon out a level 4 Winged Beast monster from your deck. And usually you're going to leave this card on your side of the field with no materials on it to be able to make Kal Yuga during the opponent's turn. And then play a single copy of Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon, because sometimes you're going to use your copy of your rank up magic to be able to just instantly climb from Y-Strix into Ultimate Falcon, depending on what your opponent's playing, which is really, really good for this deck because you have cards like Blackwing Full Armor Master that also share the ability, like this card, that they're completely immune to every other card effect, which is absolutely insane. This card is super easy to summon in the deck. It is just really fun to be able to put 2 cards on the field that are completely immune to everything, that if your opponent doesn't have a Lava Golem or a Kaiju, you pretty much win. We then play a single copy of DDD Duodon King Kal Yuga. This card is absolutely crazy, super easy to summon in this deck, and has the ability, after this card is XZ summoned for the rest of the turn, other cards or their effects cannot be activated on the field, and other cards and effects on the field are negated. And once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach a material from this card and destroy all spells and traps on the field, which is really good because if your opponent thinks that they're going to set 5 against you when you summon this card during the opponent's turn because they already can't activate anything, you can just detach a material from this card and then pop all their back row, which is really insane. This card is a Heavy Storm and a Cold Wave on a 3,500 attack point boss monster that's easy to summon in this deck. I then play a single copy of Evil Sworn Nightmare because you can make this card really easily, and it's a Book of Moon, which is really cool. One copy of Raider's Knight, which is super easy to summon this deck by just detaching material from this card. You can then summon out your copy of Arc Rebellion, which can come out absolutely massive, which will then again cold wave the field and turn everything on the field off, and then it has the ability to gain attack equal to all face-up monsters on the field's attack points, and then it can attack your opponent, which will go in for game, which is really cool. And then play a single copy of Raid Raptor Ystrix. Ystrix is really good because if this card is Link Summon, you can special summon out a level 4 Darkwing Beast monster from your deck in defense position, but its effects are negated. You're always going to be using this card in the deck to be able to go in for your copy of your Raider's Wing, and it's really good also because it has the ability that if you have a Raid Raptor XZ monster activates its effect that this card points to, then it gets to set a rank up magic spell card directly from your deck, and if it's quick play spell, it can be activated the same turn, which you're always going to be activating your copy of rank up magic force with this card to rank up your copy of Ystrix into Arsenal Falcon. And then play a single copy of the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche because you're going to be climbing into this card to get to your copy of rank up magic Launch and your copy of Fogblade to put them on your side of the field to help you go in for game during the following turn by making Duo Don King Cal Yuga. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a super fun deck to be able to play. If you guys have never played with Blackwings, you definitely should because it's my favorite deck of all time, and it's really, really insane to be able to summon out cards like Duo Don King Cal Yuga. And I always end on a Blackwing Full Armor Master in this deck, which is really, really insane. And the cool thing is you can make all of your plays by just seeing a single copy of Simoon in the hand and any level 4 Blackwing, which is really, really cool. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.